Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. In today's video, I just wanted to kind of give an update on my Road to Nationals Azalea list that I'm going to be taking. At the time that you watch this recording, it'll be today. I'm going to take it today to our Road to Nationals at Nerdhalla Games over in Fort Worth, Texas. If you're ever in the area, definitely check them out. Yeah, I decided to take Azalea over Katsu. It really was a 50-50. I love both decks equally. I'm happy with both decks. I really have just honestly been enjoying Azalea more, and that's not like a hit on Katsu by any means. It's more of just, I don't know. Something about playing Azalea in paper is just super fun. Even before all the upgrades, like the deck's just been honestly my favorite deck to play since I picked it up like 3-4 months back. And yeah, and also from a meta call, in my opinion, you have to be able to have a plan in the three main decks. Obviously, try to have a plan in every deck, but three main decks: Jeremiah, Lexi, and Oldheim. And when you talk about Katsu and Azalea, respectively, Katsu is terrible in Oldheim, near unwinnable. You have to really play perfect and hope they mess up a little bit and kind of hope you're playing a player who hasn't played against a lot of Katsus, whatever it may be. It's a near auto loss. I think it's the closest to being an auto loss as any matchup in the game, or like top 3. So that's kind of crappy. Katsu dunks on Jeremiah for the most part. It's not auto win, but it's pretty close if you play correctly, or it's very favored, like 60-40 in my opinion. And then the Lexi matchup for Katsu is winnable, but it's only winnable if if it's a fuseless Lexi, it's a little bit better. But 2, also, how do I put this? If you don't get your frailty tokens, like if they don't hit Codex of Frailty, if they're not hitting you with frailty traps or whatever they may be using, even though most Lexis don't use that, they just use Codex of Frailty. If they're giving you constant frailty tokens and you can't effectively use your Kodachis every single turn and really string out strings to make them block more, you have a lot of trouble, right? If they get their codexes early, it's really unfavored for Katsu. If you can avoid their codexes, it's pretty decent. So you basically have one matchup that is really bad, you have one matchup that is good, and one matchup that is slightly unfavored. Then you look at Azalea. Azalea in Oldheim is unfavored, but it's not unwinnable. Really good Azalea has been beating Oldheims. There's a Azalea today in the Calling Antwerp that I think was like 4-0 in Oldheim. It's like first place going out day 1, so it's definitely a winnable matchup. Jeremiah is a winnable matchup. Does not feel good, but it's not unwinnable. It's definitely a winnable matchup. And then Lexi, I think Azalea is favored into personally. Since people have figured Lexi out a little bit more, it used to be, in my opinion, literally like a 55-45, 60-40 matchup for Azalea. Now it's like just slightly favored for Azalea. It really comes down to who finds their power turns. Does Azalea find good dominate with Red in the Ledgers and Seek and Destroys and Frailty tokens, or does Lexi hit her Codex of Frailties and her 3-of-a-kinds? Whoever hits those first normally wins, but I think it's still slightly favored for Azalea, in my opinion, if both players are on equal footing. So, getting into that, this list is nothing crazy. The main board's similar to what you're going to see with any Death Dealer list: 9 Bolton shots for arrows, 3 drill shots, 3 infecting shots, 3 Red in the Ledgers, 3 remorseless, and 3 spire sniping. So, like the same 24 core arrow. And Levi's mainly been the one who's started kind of this trend of these arrows. And I think, honestly, like you could put in other arrows for preference, but if you're really talking about like core, like value, there's no better set of 24 arrows, in my opinion, than these 4 for a Death Dealer list. Enlightened Strikes and Rabbles, Premeditate, all the similar stuff, Lace with Blood Rot, Read the Glide Path, Remorseless, or Seek and Destroy, Codex Frailty, obviously, Deadeye, Rain Razors, Knock. Where mine differs a little bit is a sideboard. So I have 3 Battering Bolts, which is obviously for the Jeremiah matchup, and then actually a little bit for the Uziri and Dorinthia matchups as well. I've started to side out against Dorinthia, but I keep it in against Assassin because if I can dominate this, I can take out, like if you're playing on a Rockme or Uziri, just knowing that you can take out some of their reactions is really nice, especially if you dominate. So that feels good. I was at 2 Frailty Traps. I ended up putting in 3. This card's just so good against like most of the meta you're playing against, right? It's good against Kodachi Fi, it's good against Katsu, it's good against Lexi. Like against all 3 of those heroes, when it comes to the traps, you want to play traps that are going to trigger every single time. And that's kind of been like the issue. Like originally Boulder Trap was like the craze and stuff people were using to get around Oldheim. But even Boulder Trap doesn't work into every hero because not every hero is like putting power onto their attack. But most of the meta heroes, with the exception of Oldheim, use some form of Go Again. And there's so many just heroes in general that use a lot of go again. So Frailty really works against a lot of them. It's not really useful in Dromai, but that's about it. Lace of Frailty again is for Azalea. This is a lot of Azalea hate and Katsu hate and Phi hate. Lace of Inertia is really good against pretty much everybody. It's okay against literally every deck, and then it's really good against like Oldheim to prevent him from arsenaling. It's good against Lexi to prevent her from getting 4 or 5 card hands, 6 card hands. Just really good for that. Melting Point I put in against Oldheim and against any deck where I need to block a little bit more, like Assassin. Same thing with Sink Below. Withering Shot, I've noticed there's a lot of aggro in our area, a lot of Lexi, a lot of Katsu, a lot of Phi, and even a lot of Assassin. A lot of Uziri players in the area. So I put 2 Withering Shots in there just to help with anybody that cares about their weapon or cares about Arsenal, which in this meta is like 70% of the meta. And then obviously Perch Grapplers and Snap. So looking at the matchups, nothing crazy. Rockney, we're pretty much putting everything in. Azalea, we're putting in the Lace with Inertia. I don't put in Lace with Frailty against Azalea. I probably could, but like this card against Azalea isn't as good because it really it's just giving her like -1 to her attack. It's good against Lexi because all of her breakpoint attacks now come in for 3, and so she's firing like a 3-power arrow and a 4-power arrow. She gives it +1. Whereas with Azalea, like there's not much difference between a 10 dominate and a 9 dominate, right? Like there's really not. So I don't really put that in. Azalea cares about Frailty, but not as much as Lexi does. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Bolton, well, let's talk about like the main matchups. Dromai. So Dromai is the other meta call. So with Dromai, I side in Lace with Inertias just to prevent, maybe a 5-card hand. With Dromai, really, it's just going straight 60 cards and trying to hit her like a truck. I put in Battering Bolts also just to try to like give a little bit more threats, but it's really not too big a deal. And obviously for the poppers, but really it's for the poppers. But yeah, I'm just running a straight 60 against Dromai and really trying to just hit her as hard as I can and get her down low. If it's not the Empress, like the Mara list, it's not as bad. If it's a Mara list, it gets really bad because they can put out such long attack strings and it gets really, really difficult. So yeah, that was that matchup, the Azalea matchup. Kadachi Phi is really big right now. Kadachi Phi, I put in all the Frailty hate. So I put in 2 Withering Shots, 3 Lace with Frailties. I'm at 62 cards with Phi. I even put in the Lace with Inertia because they do like to arsenal their Art of Wars. But I've thought about maybe taking this card out or just putting it at like a 1-of and running a straight 60. So we'll see how I feel tomorrow. It really depends if I know the player or not. Then we have Katsu, similar to Phi, all the Frailty hate, so all the Kadachi hate. So Withering Shot, Lace with Frailty. We keep the Lace of Inertia out with Katsu because Katsu does like to hold like maybe a Bonds in Arsenal, but they don't try to Arsenal things as crazy. A lot of Katsu's like, I'm one of the few Katsus I know that tries to Arsenal aggressively. Most Katsus don't, which is really interesting. But we do put in the Frailty traps against both Katsu and Phi, which is really, really useful. Frailty traps are so good against them. Like if they Kadachi for 1 and you just Frailty trap on the first one, and then they literally can't even use their second Kadachi. So like their first 2, what they were thinking of like Kadachi attack, now all of a sudden you literally just said no. You just pitched a blue literally for no reason. Like on a 4-card hand, they pitch Kadachi for 1, you Frailty trap. That's like the biggest feels bad in the world for them because they literally just pitched a card for no reason at all. Really, really nice. So there's that. Then you have Lexi. Lexi's the big one. So Lexi, we're running 65 cards. I thought about cutting this down a little bit, but really I play pretty defensive against Lexi, and I want to be able to be defensive when I can be. So we put in the Frailty traps, like all the Frailty hate that we can to try to get her breakpoint arrows to not be breakpoint arrows anymore as much as we can. And we run 65 cards. Yeah, basically it's like the Phi and Katsu list, except we add in Lace with Inertia definitely and Lace with Frailty. We add both these in. I don't ideally want to double up the same on hit effect. Like I don't want to play a Lace with Frailty on a Withering Shot. However, like if I have to push damage and also give them double Frailty, that's fine with me. Like giving double inertia does nothing. Giving double frailty is totally fine because like now if you hit them twice, it's -2 to cards from Arsenal. So a 4 power there, endless arrow, even if it's plussed up, is coming in for 3. So it's really good for that. So I don't mind doubling up that on hit effect. It really does not bother me at all. And then Oldheim, I put in everything. I play really defensive against Oldheim, and I look for really, really big dominated arrows to try to slow them down, try to get those drill shots, take out that rampart as quick as possible, and kind of go from there. Same thing with Uziri. I put everything in. I'm playing really defensive against Uziri. But yeah, that's the main of the list. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. I'm not like insanely prepared. I haven't been like testing hard or anything like that. I play the deck a lot. Like I just redid this list and I'm like not doing, I mean, I've only played a couple games on it. But my testing in my original Azalea list, which was Outsiders Azalea, did pretty decent. I was sitting at like a 70% win rate, 69. Perfect. That means it's a perfect deck. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, almost 70% win rate, which is decent for me. Really good with Lexi. 12-2 against Lexi players. Azalea is like 50-50. I actually surprisingly had a lot of trouble against Katsu. And when I say a lot of trouble, like even. I don't know why. But Dromai is like pretty much even. So like the 4 big decks, like right, Azalea is a big one, and I feel good in that matchup in the mirror. I've played it enough to where I feel good about it. Lexi, I'm just dominating him, but we'll see how it happens in paper. Things change. Katsu's about 50-50, but I think I can be better in that. Oldheim, I've only played a couple Oldheims. I'm 2-1 against that. And Jeremiah, I'm 4-6. So I'm either even or better in pretty much every meta deck. So really just got to sure up and play the right way, and hopefully, we can do something. It's a 24-player RTN, capped out, so we'll see how it goes. I'll give you another update video on how it went, good or bad, whether I go 0-5 or 5-0, right, and win the whole thing. Like I'll let y'all know how I did. So thank you all so much. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If not me, it's totally fine. Go to another Flesh Bread career, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so you get more people seeing this game. If you're brand new to the channel and you stuck around, thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully you enjoyed the content, even if you don't sub or anything like that. Hopefully you got something out of it. For my long-standing people, thank you so much. Feel free to join the Patreon or the Discord down below for a great community where we talk every single day, especially during RTN season. People make going nuts in the Discord. But yeah, thank you all so much, and y'all have a good one. Thank you.